The story of my family has always been one I thought of with pride. To me, it seemed like we were stronger than most, connected by unshakable bonds and values that kept us whole. My parents had built a life together that, at least from the outside, looked steady and reliable. We ate together, celebrated together, and leaned on one another through the usual storms of life. For years, I carried the picture of us as close-knit and untouchable, a family built on love, trust, and loyalty. I never thought I would question that foundation. I never believed I would come to doubt the people I trusted most. To me, betrayal was something that happened to strangers or existed only in the stories whispered by neighbors. My parents laughed easily when we were all together, my siblings and I shared jokes that only we understood, and the comfort of routine kept life calm. But calm does not always mean secure, and peace does not always mean truth. The first cracks were so small I ignored them. I remember nights when the phone rang later than it should have, the low murmur of voices carrying just far enough for me to notice. When I asked about it, I was met with vague explanations, work matters, old friends, nothing worth questioning. I wanted to believe those answers, so I did. Yet something inside me started to stir, a quiet awareness that the rhythm of our home was shifting. There were evenings when someone seemed distracted, a little too distant, a little too preoccupied. Dinners once full of conversation felt subdued. Questions went unanswered, smiles seemed forced, and silences grew longer. I watched these changes from my place at the table, telling myself not to jump to conclusions. Families go through phases, I thought. Stress builds up, people get tired, life isn't perfect. But even while I tried to convince myself, I couldn't ignore the hollow feeling in my stomach, as if a truth was hiding behind every smile. What unsettled me most were the absences. An unexpected delay here, a late return there, always paired with an explanation that sounded practiced. My mind worked hard to smooth over the rough edges of doubt, to stitch together excuses that made sense. But deep down, the weight of suspicion grew heavier. My heart told me something was wrong long before my eyes confirmed it. The unease became constant. I started paying attention to details I had once overlooked, the guarded way a phone was placed face down, the way certain conversations ended when I entered the room, the avoidance of direct eye contact when I asked harmless questions. Each of these things by themselves could be brushed off, but together they began to form a pattern. A pattern I did not want to recognize. The house itself seemed to change with me. What once felt warm now seemed colder, quieter, as if the walls themselves held secrets. I caught myself withdrawing, staying silent during moments when I would normally join in. I wanted to protect myself from disappointment, but curiosity kept pulling me back. I needed to know why my instincts told me something was wrong. There is a moment when you realize you are standing on the edge of something that will change your life forever. I felt it one night, when everything inside me screamed that I could no longer look away. Trust had carried me this far, but suspicion refused to let me rest. It was late, the house dim and still, when I decided to follow the pull of my unease. I did not expect to uncover what I did, but I also knew I would never be able to pretend again. I walked forward with a heavy heart, unaware that my next steps would unravel the image of family I had clung to for so long. And in that moment, I crossed a line I could never come back from. That night has never left me. I can still remember the stillness of the house, the kind of silence that presses down on you, making every sound sharper, every breath louder. I wasn't looking for anything specific, I only wanted peace of mind, to calm the storm of suspicions that had been haunting me. But as I moved quietly, I felt that strange pull, as if something was waiting for me just beyond the door. My chest was tight, my palms damp, yet I couldn't turn back. I told myself it was nothing, that I was overthinking, but the truth had already begun to unfold. A faint sound reached me first, low and muffled, the kind of sound that doesn't belong in a house where everyone is supposed to be asleep. I froze, straining to make sense of it, and in that moment I knew that what I was about to see would hurt more than I could prepare for. Curiosity and dread fought inside me, but dread lost. I moved forward. The sight that met me was like stepping into a nightmare I didn't want to believe was real. My heart stopped, my breath caught, and for a moment I couldn't process what my eyes showed me. The bond one believed was sacred had been broken in the most devastating way. There they were, entangled, caught in a moment that erased years of trust with a single image. The world I thought I knew shattered in front of me, and I stood frozen at the threshold, unable to breathe, unable to move. It wasn't just the act itself, it was the betrayal behind it. To see someone I loved, someone I respected, crossing that line with another was more than my mind could hold. A rush of disbelief washed over me. I told myself maybe I was mistaken, maybe I was seeing shadows, maybe I had misunderstood. But deep down I knew I hadn't. The truth was undeniable, seared into me like a scar. My body reacted before my mind could. My legs trembled, my chest ached, and I felt the sting of tears pressing against my eyes. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, to tear the moment apart with rage. But no sound left my mouth. Instead, I stood in silence, hidden by the very shadows that betrayed me. I was present, but unseen, a silent witness to the destruction of my family's image. The minutes stretched endlessly, each second carving deeper into me. My thoughts spiraled. How long had this been happening? Was everyone else blind to it, or had I been the only one too naive to see? Did the love I had trusted mean nothing at all? The questions crashed against me, unrelenting, while I stood paralyzed, watching the unraveling of everything I had believed in. I couldn't take another second. My heart pounded so loudly I feared they would hear it. I turned away, retreating into the safety of the dark hall, carrying with me a truth I never wanted to bear. I slipped back into my room, my body shaking, my mind racing, my soul crushed beneath the weight of what I had seen. That night, I lost more than innocence. I lost the sense of certainty that had always kept me grounded. From that moment on, nothing in my home felt the same. I had seen something I was never meant to see, and no matter how hard I tried, I could not unsee it. The hours after that night has always been one I thought of with pride. I lay in bed wide awake. To me, staring into the darkness, we were stronger than most, would reveal themselves. By unshakable bonds. My body was heavy that kept us whole. My mind was restless. My parents had built a life together haunting images, at least from the outside. Every time I closed my eyes, the betrayal replayed itself, celebrated in painful clarity, and leaned on one another through the usual storms of life. By morning, my face felt hollow, years, my chest carried tight, the picture of us, and though the house carried on with its usual sounds, a family built on love, normal trust, anymore, and loyalty. I told myself I never to keep it hidden, I would question at that least foundation. For the time being. I never believed I would come to doubt the people I trusted most. To confront what I had seen meant admitting it to myself fully, that happened to strangers, and I wasn't ready, or existed so only in the stories whispered by neighbors, hiding it beneath the surface of my daily when we were all together. I spoke when spoken and I shared jokes that only we understood, and pretended that nothing had changed. But deep calm inside, does not always mean secure, and the silence does not always mean began to consume me. The first cracks every glance were so small I ignored them. Every word I remember nights when the phone rang later than it should have. I could no longer share a meal without feeling the weight of what I knew to notice. The simple comfort of family dinners turned sour. I was met with vague explanations, casual comments laced with bitterness in my mind. Nothing worth questioning. I was sitting at the same table. I wanted to believe those answers, but I felt like a stranger among my own blood. Yet something inside me came in waves. Anger so sharp it made the rhythm of our home was shifting. Sadness so deep it hollowed me out. When someone seemed distracted, paralyzed, a little too distant, I wanted to hate, a little too preoccupied, but I also loved. Dinners once I wanted to conversation, but I also wanted to protect. Questions went unanswered, I felt torn apart, smiles seemed pulled in directions and silences grew longer. The guilt of knowing, of carrying such a truth in silence, telling myself not to jump to conclusions. It was as if I had become a prisoner of my own discovery. The more I tried to mask my pain, get tired, the more it showed. Life isn't perfect. My voice grew quieter, but even while I tried to avoid contact, I couldn't ignore the hollow feeling in my stomach. People noticed, as if a truth no one was hiding behind every smile. They sensed a change in me, unsettled me most, no one could guess the reason. An unexpected conversations, a late return to myself, always paired with an explanation that sounded practiced. The once warm connection with my family began to smooth over the rough edges of doubt, every interaction a painful reminder of the lie I carried. At night, down, the weight of suspicion grew heavier. I would lie awake, my heart told me something was wrong long before my eyes confirmed destroying what was left of us. The unease became constant. What if speaking out shattered everything beyond the details I had once overlooked? What if my silence was the only thing keeping the family together? The way certain conversations ended when I entered the room, if the foundation was built on betrayal. When I asked harmless questions consumed me, each of these things by themselves could be brushed off. The tension grew unbearable. They began to form a pattern. I could no longer look at I did not want to recognize. Feeling sick, The house itself seemed to change without doubting their sincerity. What once felt warm now seemed colder, I once believed unshakable now felt fragile, as if the walls themselves held secrets. Like glass ready to break at the slightest touch. I caught myself withdrawing. I had always thought betrayal was a choice when I would normally join in. But I wanted to protect myself from disappointment, even the innocent. But curiosity there came a point where silence no longer felt like why my instincts told me something was wrong. The secret I carried was poisoning me. There is a moment when you realize you are standing on the edge of something that will change your life forever. Each day felt like a performance. One night, each night when everything inside me screamed that I could no longer look away. Trust had carried me watching life go on as if nothing had happened to let me rest. Not when the truth was eating me alive. The house dim and still. My breaking point when I decided to follow the pull of my unease. I could feel it in every word left unsaid. I did not expect to uncover what I refused to show. But I also knew I would never be able to pretend the same questions. I walked forward with a heavy heart. I would have to make a choice. That my next steps would unravel the image of family I had clung to for so long. And in that realization, my heart began to prepare for what I feared most. That night has never left me. I can still remember finally the stillness of the house leave my lips. The kind of silence my body felt presses down and heavier at making every sound sharper. I could no longer carry the weight of silence. I wasn't looking for anything suffocating me from the inside out. I only wanted peace of mind. My hands trembled as I approached suspicions that had been haunting me. My mind but as I moved between rage and sorrow, I felt that strange pull, elegant as if something was waiting for me just beyond the door. Everything came out raw. My chest was tight and unstoppable. My palms damp. I told them what I had seen. How I had told myself betrayal with my own eyes, that I was overthinking, how the lies had poisoned, but the truth had already begun to unfold. The reaction was immediate. A faint sound reached me first. Denial came first, the kind of sound that doesn't belong in a house where everyone is supposed to be asleep. Then came the excuses, straining to make sense of it, half-truths, and in that moment I knew that what I was about to see would hurt more than I could prepare for. Refusing to let myself be curiosity and dread fought inside me, be diminished, but dread lost. My voice cracked, I moved forward, but it carried all the nights of torment. That met me was like stepping into a nightmare. I didn't want to believe was real. Why loyalty had been traded for secrecy, my breath caught, why love had been betrayed I couldn't process what my eyes showed me. Their eyes flickered with shame, the bond one believed was sacred, and desperation had been broken in the most devastating way. There they were, spilled out, entangled, pieces of confession woven that erased years of trust with a single image. I learned details I wished I never knew, how long it had been going on at the threshold, how carefully it had been hidden, breathe, how easily I had been fooled. It wasn't just the revelation itself, felt like another knife, betrayal behind and yet I stood there to see someone I loved because I had already lost too much to turn away. Crossing that line with another, the family began to fracture in the aftermath. A rush of disbelief washed over me. Others remained silent. Maybe I was mistaken, and the once solid bond maybe I was seeing shadows became fragile. Maybe I had misunderstood. The warmth of our home drained away, replaced by tension. The truth was undeniable. Seared into me like a scar. I watched my body react before my mind could, each carrying their own version of pain. My chest ached, conversations and I felt the sting of tears gathering against my eyes, and laughter disappeared from rooms to demand answers freely, to tear the moment apart. The hardest part was accepting that the family I thought I had was never as perfect as I believed. I stood in silence. Betrayal had not just destroyed betrayed me. It had stolen my sense of safety, but unseen, my image of love, a silent my innocence to the destruction of my family's image. I carried scars invisible to others, each second that made me deeper into me, doubtful, my thoughts slower to trust. How long had this been happening? It was not just about what had happened. Was everyone else blind everything it changed, or had I been the only one too naive to see? In the quiet moments afterward, did the love I had trusted mean nothing at all? The painful as it was, it taught me that love without honesty while I stood paralyzed, that secrets watching the unraveling of everything I had believed in, and that betrayal leaves echoes take long another after the act itself. My heart pounded so loudly I could not control the choices others made. I turned away, retreating into the safety of the dark hall. I could let it consume me, with me a truth I could let I never wanted to bear, teaching me to demand honesty and to value loyalty more than ever. My mind racing, even now, when I think back beneath the weight of what I had seen. The image of that night remained burned into my memory, a permanent reminder of certainty that had always kept me grounded. But I also remember the strength it took to confront, nothing in my home, the courage it required to face the people I loved with a truth that broke me. And no matter how hard I tried, I could not defeat it. And so I carry the lesson forward. Sometimes the truth we uncover is the truth we never wanted, but it is also the truth we need. It shows us who people really are, what love is worth, and what betrayal costs. And though it hurt more than anything I had ever known, it taught me that facing the truth, even the darkest one, is the only way to truly begin again.